defense was Travis J. We asked him about all the defenders, and he raved about Travis. I guess, what did Travis do today that stood out, and what has he done throughout camp?
Well, Travis, he's a big body that's super athletic, and he's a physical tackler. He's kind of what we look for at that position at free safety, and he's done a nice job. And he picks things up pretty well. He's definitely physical enough. He can play the ball well. It's compounding days on days for him right now in positive ways. So he has made good strides.
Hey, Coach. Coach Norvell has been obviously talking up the defense the last couple of days. Said you guys have been dominant at times. What did you see from them just the first time seeing them in a game environment?
Dominant. Interesting adjective. Okay. No, I mean, it was, it's just good to get out there in the doke, and, anytime you take the field, with a group of players, you send 11 guys out there. I mean, that's always a special moment because you're taking the field and your goal is you got to stop, as quickly as possible. But, to be out there in the doke was special, I'll be honest with you. So, regardless of what was in the stands or what point in camp we were, it felt good just being that competitive atmosphere. And, practice is practice, scrimmages are scrimmages, games. We try to run it all the same. But there is some competitive excellence that's important when you get in these scrimmage formats, that when your number's called, you got a job to do. You got to make sure you're prepared to execute that job with whatever needs to get done. And, there were times tonight that happened. There were times that it wasn't. But I appreciate the energy of the group we're coaching, and I look forward to the rest of camp and building every day.
Hey, Coach. As a whole, how's the defense doing at handling the concepts you guys have put upon them and understanding the scheme and just doing it at full speed?
We during practices have been good. Walkthroughs, good. But I mean, we're making mistakes in certain things too. We got to do a better job of coaches of combining some things. Myself, I'm talking out loud. We're trying to not make it easy on them from a standpoint of the situations that they could incur during a game. And, our offense does a tremendous job. I mean, Mike and Kenny are the best in the business. And, they're constantly putting us in adverse situations with what we do on offense. So it challenges our guys on defense, because on defense, you install things, but, you install things, but then you got to install them against the things that you're facing as well. You still got to defend people while attacking at the same time. So, it's a challenge. And, we just, thankful to our administration for just the way we're operating right now and the time that we have with our guys and the indoor and the practice facilities. I mean, the virtual room, we've got great teaching tools right now here at Florida State, and we're trying to maximize those right now.
Hey, Coach, how you doing tonight?
Good, Gene. How are you?
Not too bad. Hey, just if you can tell me a little bit, just kind of your first impressions. I know you're going to look at a lot of film the next 24 hours of the scrimmage, but just your first impression of your three segment groups, the defensive backfield, linebackers, and defensive line, just kind of what stood out tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, our defensive line, we're trying to get them to come off the football and play with the great pad level and technique. Coach Hagens and Coach JP do a really good job. And it's, our guys like to play the style of defense that we're playing now up front. But it's taxing from an effort standpoint. And, the finite technique that needs to be used on play 1, 2, and 3 is still the technique that be used on reps 7, 8, 9. I think that's the part of growth that we're getting. We have some depth, but, sometimes you can't always rotate that depth in based on the series. So, just the continuing efforts up front, I think we've got the right pieces. I think we've got the right pieces in the right places now. Now it's just trying to make sure we have the roles in place and we're doing the right things when the right guys are on the field. Because there are some guys that are a little bit different than other guys. So we got to make sure that, yes, we have a certain way we want to play, but we also want to play to our playmakers. And we got to deal with that up front. I think our linebacking crew, we've got some veterans and then we've got some really talented young players. And you saw that tonight, and, I think we've done a good job of trying to execute. I mean, they're right in the heart of the defense, and they're involved in pass fits, run fits, blitz fits, situational football, live checks, everything involved with our linebacker room. So we put a lot on their plate. Chris has done a really good job, Chris Moore, with that group. I think we were physical at the point of attack tonight in the box. I think on the perimeter we need to improve for sure. Just our perimeter fits. In the secondary, we rolled a lot of guys. At corner, I think we've got set who's playing safety positions and who's playing corner right now. Now it's just about again, kind of like the D-line and getting the technique right. Marcus Woodson's done a really good job with the technique of our corners, techniques of our safeties. We had a few open field missed tackles that will absolutely kill you on defense. And all big plays fall in the secondary. You name it. D-lineman comes out of gap, happens. Linebacker comes out of gap, it happens. Don't want it to, don't want to misfit, but it's about our secondary getting the ball on the ground to reduce those big plays. And that didn't happen enough tonight, so definitely some work to do moving forward.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned that you had your corners and your safeties set. Who are the guys at those positions?
Well, I don't think we're set on the rotation, but as far as the pieces of where they are, you want me to go through and name every corner and every safety? Is that anybody specific that you have a question on about who we
You mentioned Travis J. He was working at cornerback and working at safety, like him, Renardo Green, Akeem Dent, some guys that had moved back and forth.
Yeah, I'll absolutely speak on those three. So Travis J., we moved to safety. He's playing free right now. Renardo Green's playing free safety, and Akeem Dent's playing corner.
Hey, Coach, are you up in the box during game day, and were you tonight? And then also, could you just, I guess, how was the communication overall as the defensive staff? This is the first time some of you guys have worked together.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the first time, and I'm glad it's the first time because we've got a lot of work to do. We had a debriefing immediately after the scrimmage to go through every single thing that was said, how it was said, the placement of people, the eyes, the communication lines, the signaling on the field. I mean, we've got a long way to go with it. But we're not behind, but we've got a long way to go. I'm glad it's the first scrimmage. But no, I'm on the field right now, and I plan to be on the field in the games.
Adam, how has Joshua Kaindoh done throughout the preseason? And today, Coach Norvell mentioned that he flashed a few times as well.
Joshua Kaindoh's a pro. The way he goes about his business, his maturity, his intelligence, his skill set, the way he goes about his business. I'm really excited about him and the way he's going about his business. Just his maturity with the things he's doing on and off the field. He's one of the guys, when I said I want to come to Florida State, those are the type of people that I want to put myself in alignment with. I think Josh, as good of a football player he is, he's that good of a person right now in my mind. Just watching him work, watching him care for his teammates, watching the standards that he has for himself. Joshua Kaindoh is a Seminole, no question about it.
Hey, Adam, hope you're doing well, man.
Good.
Wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the offense and maybe a couple of the players that when you go into a scrimmage like this or practices, you have to deal with and are tough to deal with, but are really standing out and tough for you guys to make plays on.
Oh, boy. That's, right now, just as we line up on defense, we're not in game plan mode against our offense from a standpoint of taking away players. But, I mean, we've got multiple wideouts that, just one-on-one routes are tough matches. I don't want to go through all the names there. I think all of our quarterbacks have thrown the ball well. I think they've all done a really good job. I've been impressed with us up front, O-line. I think they're doing a nice job of just playing in unison and covering us up in certain schemes. And we play with multiple backs too. It's just there's a lot of different pieces out there, and we're in multiple personnel groups. I mean, people are going to know that. They're going to watch Coach Norvell and Kenny's offense. And there's just so much multiplicity with the run game concepts, the formations, quarterback runs, quarterback throws. I mean, there's a lot of offense, screens. I mean, you watch the offense and all the things that come with it. And then you put it with a good player in space. And, it just, it's hard for me to single out specific offensive players, but I think, they create angles and matchups that you don't want on defense. And it's constant to try to make sure that we leverage the ball the right way and that we can fit things. So not to not answer it, but there's a lot of different pieces to this offense that you're just trying to make sure you're lined up the right way and leverage the football and make sure you get the right alley players fast enough.
Coach, now that you're through the first week of practice and through your first scrimmage, are there any freshmen that have stood out to you, so far?
Yeah, I mean, there are, starting up front, if you just talk about freshmen, Joshua Griffiths he was here, it's funny, his official visit was my first weekend here. So, that was good. And he's mature enough and strong enough that he's going to help us. He's going to play good football. We've got some newcomers up front that, aren't freshmen. TJ Davis, we're glad we got him. I think he's got a bright future here at Florida State. There's two linebackers that are playing good football right now, and DJ Lundy and Steven Dix. I think they'll both play for us. I think they both have bright futures. Steven, again, was in that recruiting class with Josh that came on that official our first weekend here. And Steven was here in the spring. DJ just got here, but he's got the skill and he's the right type of player that we're looking for here at linebacker. And then the freshman DBs, Sidney DeMori and Jadarius McKnight, all just trying to work through the group that we have right now. So it's a good freshman class. It's the guys that they're starting to separate themselves some right now. But linebacker we've got some older guys. That position, has the opportunity for playing time early. Josh coming in as a defensive end, we needed depth there. So more of their opportunity in their skill and their work are coming together a little bit for opportunities right now for those ones specifically.
Last one, go back to Ira from Warchant.
Hey, Coach, you got this team has a lot of guys back in the secondary who have played a lot of football. What has Jarvis Brownlee done to kind of emerge as a guy that we keep hearing his name? You've tweeted it several times with takeaways. What have you seen from him to help him emerge as a factor in that secondary?
Well, he's been prepared where his number's been called, and he's made those plays, whether it's special teams. And I think everything these guys do is connected to success or failure. It's not just, on defense, he's this, between the kicking game, between the weight room with Josh Storms, academically, like all of it is all part of the evaluation process. Even more so now with time away. You've had a chance to judge a lot of things on these guys, and we're connected to trying to put together their portfolios and who they are right now. And, Jarvis has a skill set. I mean, he can change direction. He's as quick as anybody in our program. He's got a good ball skill, but, he's got a good sense of playing corner and just spatial awareness, and he's very aggressive and he's ball skilled and he's made the most of his opportunities, but he's one to tell you he's got room for improvement. And I think, he hasn't had a lot of playing time, at this point. And, some guys have had more, but just because you're playing doesn't mean that you're ready, so, we've got some experience, but we need winning experience. We need to drive that home, and we got to keep building that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.